In a world where digital content barrels towards us at relentless breakneck speeds, where posts and memes and tweets and snaps rain down a punishing assault of attention-grabbing data, three heroic podcasters with a strong background in broadcast media are taking on the internet. Each week, we break down the trends, technology, and connections that are transforming our lives. We are Things I Found Online.
We are Things I Found Online. Radio legends and comedians are exploring the internet with Queen Isabella's money in search of the fountain of what the hell are these kids doing online. And very exciting news to report, David Rodwin is back via Zoom video conferencing. Do we have David? David is traveling the land with his one-man show entitled, should I say this out loud, Jilly?
Yes.
Is your mom watching? Fuck Tinder. Oh, David, It's not the actual app with which you engage in sexual intercourse. You have learned that, yes?
Let's just start the show on this note.
Did you attempt it? Okay, good. So David dove deep into online dating, and within 2 years, he went on dates with 120 women. And in so doing, David found love, heartbreak, confusion, sex, and absolutely no consensual understanding of how to date. Here's what I want to talk about, because it's this whole online app dating has really changed the face of how humans interact on planet Earth. So what's interesting about dating apps is that you are interacting with a person who is theoretically also interested in dating. They have posted a dating profile. Their profile states that they are more or less seeking someone more or less like you. Whereas when you approach someone in real life, they could be married, not interested in your age or gender or face. The risk of rejection is immediate and direct. Online, you simply swipe on. Is this making us more accurate daters?
I don't know.
Accurate is a tough question to answer, right? Because go for it.
Go for it, David.
Well, here's the thing. You can go into a bar and you can meet someone and you can totally hit it off of them and you'll have amazing chemistry based on a whole slew of things. And they might not have fit your parameters in your basic dating app. They might be 1 year too old, and they will just be invisible to you. So that's for starters.
Yeah.
You're missing out on people that you might love in real life.
That's a good point, yeah.
And then the next day the alcohol wears off and you realize you never liked them in the first place.
Yeah, or like the one thing you had in common was the fact that you both laughed really hard at that one guy falling down. Like that could be it. And then you're like, well, we can't base a whole relationship off of this.
Sure you can. Just hire a guy to fall down 24/7.
So you're missing someone's complete and total aura just by seeing them on screen. You're not really getting the essence of how they say things, and it's just something very adorable about somebody that you would see in real life. But at the same time, online, you can really fine-tune past the smokers and, things that you might find out about a person down the road, like, oh, you like the Three Stooges? Yeah, I'm sorry. That would have been good to know 3 weeks ago.
Deal breaker.
But generally speaking, online dating, the premise remains the same as real life, like introducing yourself to someone. The first step usually is you see someone who you find attractive and you want to go get to know them. If it's someone you've never met before, someone you haven't talked to before. So that remains. And then you have the idea of the bio, right? Which is what you're getting at, where you're saying, these are my interests. I like the Three Stooges. I know all that stuff. But I don't think that those are accurate in the slightest. So I wouldn't say that we're getting to be more accurate daters. We're certainly more targeted daters.
More targeted. How would you define targeted?
Well, we are seeking a certain thing out, but we're not getting it in any sense, I don't think. Like, if you read, I don't have a dating app, but if I had one and you read like what my bio would be, I think all my friends would be like, that's not you at all, right? It's not. It's just like maybe a few words I kind of want to think describe me, and I'm a lot more than that, and I'm not a lot of those things. So I just don't think that it's actually accurate to who we are. But it's targeted, that's for sure.
It's how we wish to present ourselves.
Right, it's like your best foot forward kind
but
of.
Sometimes
but is
not
it
even
really
accurate.
Authentic
even
to,
even if it is my best foot, like I might say that I'm funny and my friends would say, no, you're not, right? Like, so
I think
it's
you're
those
funny,
kinds,
Ryan.
I know, but as an example, thank you, I appreciate that, Wheezy. But as an example, those kinds of things, they're just the way we look at ourselves, and I don't even think I could condense myself into a few sentences.
My first profile was actually written by my coworker. So I started writing it, and this is on Match.com such a long time ago. Mm-hmm. And she looked over my shoulder, and she saw that I was putting together my profile. And she's like, oh, I just got online too. Can I look at yours? We can like give each other feedback. So she took mine and she spent like an hour on it, and she took me away so I couldn't see what she was doing. And honestly, we didn't know each other that well. So I was trying to figure out what the hell she wrote, because like I had a really long bio, really detailed, lots of interest. And when I came back, she literally had boiled down my essence to one sentence. And the entire profile now just said, "I smell good."
So now, was she sort of
You're like a plumber.
Was that what she would have wanted to see in a profile?
I guess. And you know, I actually, we didn't see each other. You know, we moved on from that office. I hadn't seen her for years. I actually sent her a message a year ago. She never responded to it. But I said, "Hey, I'm just curious. Were you flirting with me and I didn't understand what you were doing at the time?"
Yeah, it seems like a long way to go to tell you that you smell good.
Also, a long time to write that one sentence.
Yeah.
But it was. She was like a poet. She had to, like, you know, delete everything, then write something short. But I'll tell you, I have gotten more openers and more comments because I've kept it on. I've extended it. I now have a very detailed thing. But my first line is always, "I smell good." And then I continue from there. And women write me on a regular basis, or they respond to my profile, my initial introduction, with something about, "Well, what do you really smell like? How do you know you smell good?" And that starts a conversation.
Yeah, it does sound like a
me,
good conversation starter.
I smell like icebreaker.
If you can figure out.
Well, now we all want to know. Do
All
you
right,
smell
Lori.
good?
Oh, I was gonna say that I feel like internet dating is just different. I feel like one of the things that frustrates me is when people say that, like, "Oh, we're missing out on meeting in bars." People are still doing that. Also, nobody ever went up to somebody and said, "That person doesn't do anything for me, and I have zero interest in finding out more about that person. Let me go talk to them." So it's the same thing with online dating. You know, we find somebody that we see it might be interesting or attractive. We send them messages, whether or not that works. I think that the only difference is that it just takes away the face-to-face meeting, the initial face-to-face meeting. And so it just changes things up a little bit. But I don't think it's really there's really no success or failure. I think that if you look at like the success or failure of finding somebody in like a public setting or like a bar or something like that, as opposed to online dating, I mean, they're basically matched. It's just how we match with somebody, the chemistry. I just think that it's just now an added thing.
All right, so here's a question I have for the panel. The gamification of dating unleashes the combined endorphins of both love and leveling up. Is this healthy? Jilly?
Well, yeah. I think that, so I created a Tinder my freshman year of college. It quickly became a game for all of my roommates and friends gathered around the app. They were taking it and writing to people, you know, from the app. And then it became problematic when I then would run into, I was doing it like around USC, and then I realized I was doing it in such a small radius, and then I ran into somebody at the CVS downstairs where I lived, and I was like, oh my God, this is not okay, because these are real people, and like it felt yucky, you know? So I think it's important to be real about it and authentic about it. I didn't want to feel like it like catfishing in any kind of way, even though it was me, you know, my like profile. And I think that, you know, I have for some reason a problem with meeting up with people online for some reason. Like, I think I'm just like not
David
there yet.
Yeah. Oh, you mean
know?
you're the one who's David's reaching out to, and you're just like, yeah, no, that's
right.
Yeah.
For some reason, it just didn't feel like maybe I'm just not there yet. Like maybe I'm not like old enough. Maybe I just don't. Like, it's just not, it doesn't feel like safe.
I would hesitate to meet up with someone
Yeah, it just
online.
doesn't really feel like safe enough for me. And so I think like for that, I kind of stopped because I was like, okay, like this is not, it does then feel like a game. It doesn't feel like real. And so then that's why I stopped.
So because you're getting this validation and you're looking at faces, and humans love looking into other faces, and it just becomes kind of an addiction, right?
And you're talking to people, and like that's all great and fun. But then if you're not meeting people, then it's like, oh, like this actually doesn't end up leading to anything, and then it loses meaning, I think. But it does really work for people, and people do meet. Right, you met.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lori did.
So it does and I know people who are in long relationships from meeting, you know, in apps and online, and who have met people. I think it just has to be right for you.
I mean, I think online dating is taken more seriously, generally speaking, than app dating. I think the apps make it feel kind of more like a game. Whereas like my mom and my stepdad met on JDate, but like that's like the kind of website where like I think more people are seeking like a significant other than like Tinder, where as we were explained already, like it started as a hookup app, and so I think like and just the swiping aspect, it makes it feel like a joke almost, you know. So I've never used Tinder seriously. I've used my friends' phones to respond to people like. One of my friends matched with someone named Yolanda, so I sent her a message, yo, and then under that I wrote Londa.
And I'm sure she never hears that.
I don't know.
So it's good that you sent that.
Oh, that's fun.
But I just thought I enjoyed it. But I never like had my own account for like serious purposes.
But right now, like they're on Snapchat, there's even like comedians who take over other people's Tinders.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know, so like there's this like kind of
stuff.
like fun in quotes thing of, you know, other people taking over other people's like Tinders or what. And I think like there's like kind of like it's funny and it's fun to watch, but it's also kind of like
a person you could see at CVS.
Right. And then you're like, oh, shoot. This is kind of weird. Like, it's like that moment, like, wait, where do I know you from? Oh, my God, we were talking last night, and I have no idea what I said to you because it wasn't me.
Yeah, sorry, my friend took my phone.
I don't feel like...
we took a look online to see which hold that thought, Aaron. We took a look online to see which dating apps are currently trending, and this is from digitaltrends.com. As ever, Tinder is on top, but what is new with Tinder? Well, I don't know, David, I'm sure you're an expert on this, but they have the super like. So you still swipe right to like, and you swipe left to pass, and now you can swipe up to show that you super like someone. The person you super like will take notice when your profile appears, and they're deciding whether to swipe right will show up with a bright blue border and star highlighting that they have been super liked by you. Sweet! And when they do swipe right on your super like, it'll be an immediate match. So has anyone engaged in super swiping behavior?
Super like is so easy to accidentally do. It is so easy to like to do that. I have super liked people that like I've tried to swipe against. Like I've been like, I'm not interested in that person.
Can you undo it? Because it was saying like you only get.
No,
so here's how it works.
Undo it.
You only get one. What is it? Wait.
One super like a day, unless you pay for it.
Yeah, all Tinder users can send one free super like every day. Tinder Plus and Tinder Gold subscribers can send up to 5 super likes every day. You can also buy additional super likes in a variety of packages. These extra super likes have no expiration date and can be used at any time. So if you receive a super like, that means that the person either super likes you or is super wealthy. And so this begs the question of like, now it's sort of like a freemium model. Like with gaming, where you pay extra. I don't know, David, what are your thoughts?
Well, they've used the super like for a few years. And what's actually interesting is OkCupid has completely changed their model of interaction to be closer toward Tinder. And the part of the reason they did it, I remember a friend told me when she started using Tinder to look for relationships more than OkCupid. And the reason was because on OkCupid, it used to be that anyone could send anyone a message. So this friend of mine who's a woman who is interested in men, her mailbox became full with hundreds of messages from men she had no interest in. So she actually hired an assistant to triage her mailbox and paid them to go through and say, okay, I will only respond to men who have this, that, the other thing, blah, blah, blah. And Tinder essentially does that because you can only communicate with people on Tinder if both of you have said that you like each other.
Right.
And now OkCupid is trying to follow suit.
Okay.
Yeah,
so.
I have a friend who created a show based off of that premise because I had asked her to look at my OkCupid profile because I had wrote some stuff in there and I was trying to be funny. I said that I absorbed a twin in the womb and I was trying to be like cute and I wanted to make sure it didn't come off creepy. And she was like, yeah, that comes off creepy. But she had to create a profile in order to do that. And she created this profile that was like her hugging a cat. But she cropped off her head and it was just her cat and her like body. And then it was like, I like cats, meow, meow, meow. That's I like cats. And so she was trying to come up with like the worst profile ever. And she got like a ridiculous amount of responses from guys every day.
It was like the producers.
Yeah. And so she was like, I got to do a show. So she created like all these different profiles and found out stuff. But that was based off of the premise because people could just message you if they saw your profile. They didn't even have to like your page or whatever. So.
What were you going to say, Aaron?
Oh, I was just going to address your question about the gamification of dating. And I'm wondering if it's even become like more gamified by becoming online. I feel like dating's always been kind of a game, and
Oh, game shows. There's been dating shows.
I just feel like there's more access now to more people, and maybe there's like a certain layer in which you have more time to figure out what to say.
Yeah, but do you think there's some people that don't actually want to meet a person, but will get their social like a sim, will get their social fed if they're just interacting with people who are potentially interested in them, but they never have to actually follow through and have a boyfriend or a girlfriend?
Well, the people that I know that have done that, they actually meet with the people because they like that interaction between the person too. They like to know that they have like all these other people they're talking to, and then they also meet with people. So it's like
constant validation.
Yeah, like I have a friend who he loved the game and he loves swiping, and then he would go on dates, but he liked the fact that like I'm going on a date with this woman, and then at 7:00 and then at 9:00 I'm going on a date with another woman.
Whoa.
So I think that's the part of the gamification. I think it's, if somebody doesn't want to meet, I think it's more like what she was saying, where it's like they're worried about their safety, or they're just not feeling a connection. I don't think it's just a waste of time, in my opinion, to go on and not have any interest in meeting, unless like you have to have some want to meet somebody in real life, and then there's just something that's like, I just don't. This isn't right for me at this time. Like, it's just because it's like you're just wasting your time.
What's tough is there's not really a commitment to whether or not like it's a full-on joke and a full-on game, or whether or not it's a full-on serious dating experience. I would totally have every dating app on earth if they were all committed to being jokes. Like if they were committed to not being taken seriously and they weren't trying to hide under the guise that like, yeah, Tinder's for love. I'd be so like, if there was an app that just kind of like Tinder showed you like 100 people, but you had 3 seconds to respond with just your most visceral gut reaction of just screw your hat and swipe left. Like that's how I would
Screw your
You can
hat.
still do that.
I know, but like one that's designed for that, and people get to know
it's
that you
called
said no because of your hat.
It's
like,
called Speed Tinder.
right, but
Yeah.
like someone has to know like it's just because of their hat, like for some reason, like,
But
and then
see-
you could just judge people.
Nobody
and
puts
that'd be
any
fun.
stock in Tinder messages. You can write anything you want.
I'm just saying that'd be the fun of it, is like if you just made like a joke out of like essentially judging people online, like that would be more fun than trying to like hide
See,
under the guise
people
of love.
find love no matter. I think that's why these internet things were created, because people will find love no matter what. There was a man that my mom worked with for a while who left his wife because he fell in love with this woman that he was chatting with on an online chess game, and like
Yeah,
so
that
it's like
happens too,
people
yeah.
will find love no matter
How
what
did that work
scenario.
out? I'm curious.
I have no idea.
Fair
I
enough.
think I mean
Checkmate.
yeah.
David, at what point in your process did you realize that that this was going to become a one-man show?
That's a great question. So the first year, there were a few crazy stories, and I've done a lot of live storytelling, often, in short bursts, like The Moth is a 5-minute kind of thing. And I would start telling some of those in the very first year. But I didn't know it was a show until about 1.5 years in. Actually, when a friend told me that he was writing a book, and he's like, hey, why don't you write a book along with me? So I started writing it as a book, and I got more than halfway through the book when I fell in love with someone. And at about the 3.5-month mark into dating her, she dumped me and broke my heart.
Aww.
And I couldn't keep on writing, but I could keep on telling the story.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, I kept on figuring out what the larger structure of it was and pushing ahead. And 6 months later, I opened at the Hollywood Fringe Festival.
What's her name? Let's look her up and make fun of her.
Yeah.
No, can't do that.
No,
It's a-
can't do
it's
that. All right, so another trending dating app that Aaron told me about is called Coffee Meets Bagel.
I didn't tell you that.
Sure.
Oh, in my dreams or in my imagination,
Wheezy.
Mercs or Nigel or someone,
The
Aaron.
new app.
All right, so Coffee Meets Bagel. Coffee Meets Bagel does require logging in through your Facebook in order to create a profile. Once you've set up your profile and input your preferences, it will send you 1 bagel a day, and bagel is in quotations because it's not an actual bagel.
I would
It's
rather an app that sends me one bagel.
I know.
That'd be so
that
much
would
better.
be-
Yeah.
That's called J-Swipe.
That would be that would
Which
be
is
amazing.
essentially the profile of a potential match.
Oh, I get it. That's
you
a
then
Jewish
have 24 hours, just like a bagel. It's going to, not be fresh. You have 24 hours to decide whether you want to like or pass on your bagel. If you like your bagel and they have also liked you, you'll connect, meaning that you'll be able to message one another in a private chat.
Is there an option to wrap it up and put it in the fridge?
You really should freeze a bagel because the fridge will just,
Oh, man.
will just pull the moisture right out of the bagel. But if you
See,
freeze it,
that's what I would love is a dating app that really dives into all the puns based off the dating
I
app.
just want an app that you date food. It shows you a photo of a piece of food. You're like,
Can
I want that.
finish
unhealthy.
explaining the rules
Sorry.
because this is the gamification dating site. Okay, that chat room expires after 8 days. Regardless of whether you talk with your bagel or not, you can also earn beans that allow for extra app functions, either by purchasing them outright, recommending the app to your friends, or logging in on consecutive days. Where's the app where it's going to be like the Fortnite dating, where you just kill each other off, and then like the person who's left alive is the person you have
That's
to...
hilarious.
Bagels don't go from
You have to-
beans. That bothers me because bagels and coffee
well,
are
it's
a
coffee,
thing.
yeah. 'cause
Oh,
the
coffee
beans.
beans. Oh, that
Come
makes more
on.
sense.
All right, has anyone tried this app?
I know people who have tried the app, but I've never. So the conversation will expire in 8 days, so you have to essentially meet up in 8 days,
Or you have to at least talk to each other about meeting
Or
up.
like get a phone
Yeah,
number.
you gotta
or
get a
something.
phone
Yeah,
number.
Get a
in
phone
other
number.
words,
So
there's
it's
an
just
urgency
Tinder with
to
an
it.
8-day time limit and only one person
that's
a day.
good. I kind of like
I
that.
kind of like
Yeah,
it too.
it's like TikTok here.
There's
you know?
also this other dating app that a couple of friends of mine have found people on called Hinge. I think it's called where
people love
it's
Hinge.
where it's you have to be connected to through Facebook. So you log into your Facebook and you have to have mutual friends in common. I don't know anything past that, but yeah.
I
yeah,
do.
there's that.
You have
we
to
were going to talk about
answer.
Hinge. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Have you tried it?
I haven't, but I know people who've tried it and they like it because you have like a longer profile and you have pictures and you answer questions, and then the other person can like an answer or a picture, and then you can kind of go off of that and start a conversation. So it's like if you have funny
it tells
answers,
you what they were interested in.
yeah, and so it's like not just kind of like a whole profile, but if you have like a funny picture or
yeah.
a funny answer, it's like more than just like
Yeah. So it's
like-
conversation
yeah.
starters and mutual friends, which is
Nice.
I like that because like it's kind of pulling away from what Weezy was saying, which is like gamification. So it's
Right.
like it's like forcing you to have like a conversation instead of just being like that. The coffee and bagel one, like I actually think that that's more gamification than Tinder. Like they give you some,
that's why I mentioned it. And then there's this one, Tastebuds. Tastebuds is a dating app that uses musical taste to guess who you're compatible with. Listening to a song that the person likes while scrolling through their profile is also an added personal touch, as is being able to send someone a song. It's the updated, truncated version of making someone a mixtape. Moreover, a lot of people use the app to find friends and concert buddies as well as dates.
Music is like the most inconsistent thing on earth. People
No.
don't like the same. People have the most inconsistent tastes in music. You might like one song from a genre and hate every other song from that genre. So I just don't think that's a great basis on which to go by. I do like the idea of the song in the background. That reminds me of like
it's like
old
a
HTML
soundtrack
like
to your dating
web
profile.
pages where you would like you could put in a song in the background. So every time they visit your website for some reason, it
I think
blasts like
Riot
your
does
Oh my
that.
God, I'm on MySpace. Help me.
I
Yeah.
think my girlfriend and I were like in her room once, and she was like, "Let's dance. I want to dance to something." And she put on this song that was like, "Bing." And I was like, "This
Oh,
is
Yoko Ono,
I
yeah,
literally would break up with you right now if I found out that this was like your favorite song. Like I would not have dated you. So
Things
like
to
that-
find out
yeah,
later
yeah.
include.
We would not have been. This would not have been a thing that if I was on Tastebuds, I would have totally not picked.
All
her.
right, so this brings us to this week's top one list. This week's number one list is from BrainJet, and it is the hilarious and disturbing dating apps that make Tinder seem tame. And we have number 10, Hula, for people looking for compatible STD results.
Oh my God.
Sizzle, for those seeking a specific bacon preference match. Socket, notifies those within range that you are not to be disturbed.
What does that mean?
So you're in there, and you're doing that. And if you don't have a spare sock, you just ping everybody within any kind of radius to don't enter.
Who also has the app?
But like,
Yeah.
That
So-
didn't clarify anything.
so
No,
you
so
go
ba-
on it just to get rejected?
No. It's when
No,
you
no,
already
you're
have,
getting
you're already
busy.
you're already
You're
getting
getting
busy.
busy.
That part
The
is taken
car
care
is
of.
rocking.
Right. And then you're like, hey, by the way, I don't have a lock on my door or a sock because I'm weird. So I just need to
Yeah.
let everyone know around me, hey, guys, I'm having sex. Don't come in here. That's
Yeah.
all the app does.
Please,
They yell
But
that
please.
out.
you know what the app actually does? It tells the one other person who has the app, oh my God, I'm getting some.
Oh, that's
yeah,
Go ahead,
this
Aaron.
model fails if like nobody uses it, which is the
Right.
reality.
All you need is like one person. It's like bragging rights. I think that's what this app
Big.
is.
Plus, who
Basically.
doesn't have socks? That's, I mean, like,
Or a doorknob. Maybe they don't have a doorknob.
I also would love to just find out the
Nomads.
locations. Like it's like a dumpster behind the Carl's Jr.
Or
or
you'd be
something.
knocking on every door.
Oh,
As soon as
I
you
would
got
totally
the notification,
show
you'd be like, hey!
I'd be like, I got your notice. I don't
give me a baby
understand.
powder.
That's just like a dangerous app. It's like I'm in a vulnerable position and I'm just letting you know where I am. All right.
Yeah.
Don't come here.
That's like people who post like I'm gonna be gone for 2 to 3 weeks on a vacation and I'll be at a cell service and my home is not gonna be attended to.
And I don't
And
have
there's
a
a key
dog.
under the mat. Don't use it.
Yeah, don't use it. It's like, okay, too much information.
Number 7, bad date rescue. Prompt or schedule a fake call to spring you.
Oh,
I think that's
That one's
really
real.
funny.
I've done that. Well, not with the app, but I've had people do that before.
I've
This
done
one,
it to
I
other
just set an
people.
alarm.
this is my favorite.
Like I've had
Yeah.
people
Number
call me
6.
is what I'm saying.
I've
To get me
Bristler.
out.
the other people
Oh.
for them.
Number 6, bristler. And of course, without the E, just bristler. Connecting facial hair fanciers with facial hair growers.
Oh yeah.
What if you shave? Is your account suspended? Like, what if you had a great beard and
They
you have
will
an interview
find
and
you.
shave?
Yeah,
They will find you.
That's how you
5.
delete your account. You just show a photo of you shaving.
5, seeking arrangement for sugar daddies and their potential youngsters.
And
I'm
it's called-
actually super interested in that.
I know
Okay.
people
As
who
a concept.
use it.
All
But
right,
I know
let's-
people
let's
who've
discuss.
done that before.
Let's discuss. Go ahead.
There was a person, it was a good friend who basically they went on a date with an older man who promised to take them to a Spice Girls concert.
Oh,
And you could like meet Mel B.
good, because I thought you could say the Wiggles, and I was like, oh, this is getting really super strange. Okay, go ahead. You
I
can
don't
meet.
know.
Oh, you could meet Mel B.
Like
I was gonna
like-
say just the
like
tickets
if you're
don't seem worth
if you're a
it.
good boy,
Yeah.
we'll go see the Spice Girls.
Just Mel B, not Victoria Beckham.
That is quite a dangle.
Ah.
Yeah. All right.
That-
So, Julie, what do you know about that? People your age, are they?
Yeah, girls. A lot of girls do. I don't know anyone who's like met up with people, but people will do it and like send pictures. I think it's extremely problematic because like there have been issues. I heard a story of like a friend of a friend where like the laws had to get involved because just like they didn't, I guess like they put their face in it or whatever happened, but it's like an easy way to get money. But I think it's just like, ugh, like
I think
it's
it's really
like,
dangerous. Like, you don't want to get Melania'd.
Well,
Right.
maybe you do, because then you
Yeah.
just
Really?
You get the money. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just online prostitution.
Exactly. My husband says if you marry for money, then you earn every cent of it.
And like
That's
prostitution
probably true, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
prostitution is a dangerous business, but there's also like a lot of potential for like kind of like self promotion and kind of like growth.
yeah, but
There's
it's
like
an
a feminist,
unregulated.
There's a feminist
Yeah.
angle to prostitution.
It's an
there is
unregulated
a
People
business.
say
feminist
that.
angle.
But I almost feel like it's like reversed. It's reverse
It's not.
feminism. I don't even know how to explain what I'm trying to say, but it's like it's like saying that something is good for your self-esteem that's actually bad for your self-esteem. Dina?
That comes with a judgment before. Sorry,
Well,
I
it's
know I'm
not
being
real.
judgmental, but
It's
I don't-
not a real
no, I don't disagree.
connection.
I'm just saying it comes with a judgment that it is bad for their self-esteem, which I don't
It's
know.
I
not
think
a.
it is.
It's
That's
not
my
a real
opinion.
connection. That's why.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. I'm totally pro sex worker, and I believe that it's a legitimate job. And the reason why is because there's a lot of women out there who are surviving by doing it. So, particularly like the laws and the kind of like prostitution abolitionists and everything like that. The people who conflate sex trafficking with sex workers who are doing it, without being forced, is all bad for sex workers who are, completely fine with it and who this is their livelihood. Maybe they're supporting family or kids. And we're putting a lot of judgments, on what they're doing that aren't necessarily reflective of kind of what's real, right? Because we don't know them, we don't know where they come from or what their lives have been like. And there is a huge online community of, sex workers, sugar babies, and sex workers runs the gamut, right? That's strippers, cam girls, escorts. Some people say sugar babies are are in the sex work realm.
They're
Not
just my
call
favorite
them
candy.
babies. Like, just not call them
It's a really good
babies.
candy, though. Sugar
Like,
babies.
I don't have any problem with this.
I don't have any sugar babies.
Has anyone had the candy? Sugar babies?
My question is,
It's hard to eat.
my
They're
question
really
is
good.
this:
That's sugar daddies you're thinking of. Those are the big ones. Sugar babies are the good little ones.
if there are people who are willing to pay for it, then it should exist because there's a market for it. But at the same time, it's still a human being, and then
Well, you could say that about drugs, though.
Yeah,
but
and
Hard
pedophilia.
drugs. Well, it's fine. You
Well,
could
yeah.
say that.
Well,
Don't
but that's
high-five
their,
them.
Why
their
distinguish hard
value
drugs,
becomes
you know?
sex. Go ahead, David.
You could.
Well, that's a great example about drugs. 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people thought marijuana was the most evil thing in the world. Now we're legalizing it around the country, state by state. And I'm actually friends with Alice Little, who is a sex worker who works at the Bunny Ranch in Nevada. And, there's been a lot of legislation recently that has clamped down on her and other sex workers' ability to advertise to find the clients. And she is not forced into it. And like the point you were just making, there is a massive distinction between people who are trapped in trafficking and people who are genuinely choosing this as a profession. And to conflate the two is really unfair to them and really, frankly, judgmental and condescending in a certain kind of way. It's their choice as to how they run their life and use their body. So
it's like labor and slave labor. Somebody who does manual labor is doing it by choice, and somebody does.
My point about it being, if you think about it, it is very natural because it is the world's oldest profession. So there's always been people that would pay for sex, and then people that get paid for sex. So I don't want to compare it to pedophilia, where you're tampering with someone's development and all of harming them.
I was just saying that you were saying that it's if somebody's willing to pay for it, you could, because I was just saying that you could say that.
But the child would then be in a sex trafficking situation because
that's
it
true.
wouldn't be. They're not at the age of consent. Go ahead, Dina.
The way that I look at it is, it's not that they're selling themselves or their bodies. It's that sex workers are providing a service. And, just like anybody who goes to a job, it's like, because the genitals are involved, it's all of a sudden like your entire being is being like used. And, if you go to a regular job and you use your brain, you use your hands. If you're like a construction worker, are you selling yourself? Are you selling your body? It's just like parts. It's just parts, but, it's ultimately a service because, not everybody can be a successful sex worker.
All right, let's move on with our list. We have number 4, Slide Dial allows you to cancel a date by slipping directly into someone's voicemail. This would be useful for more than just canceling a date.
I used it once for entirely another purpose.
What was it?
Well, I just had to call someone I really didn't want to speak to, and I would rather leave them a voicemail. So I looked. I don't know if it was this thing, but turns out it was a thing.
You used it.
So
it
it
worked.
lets you leave them a voicemail instead of sending them a text message?
Well,
No,
it
like
wouldn't. If
instead
they
of
were
words.
there to answer the phone, it would just
It goes straight to
wouldn't
voicemail.
ring.
I see,
It
okay.
wouldn't ring.
So they
you don't have to talk to them.
You're like, oh, sorry, I didn't get you. I gotta.
You must have been in a tunnel.
Yeah, I actually had my best friend with my girlfriend. I'm making it sound like that I don't love her, but I love my girlfriend very much. But
Just not her music taste.
Disclaimer.
just
Her
not
taste
her
in
music
music.
choice. But I had a second date. I wasn't so sure about dating her because at the time I was like kind of into this other girl, but then it was like one of those things where then she turned out to be nuts, and so
happens.
But then I went on this. So I went on the second date with Star, my girlfriend, and I told my best friend, I was like, call me in like an hour and a half and say that you have an emergency, and then I will go. And she never called me. And then she sent me like a text message like 5 hours later, like, I left you a voicemail. And I was like, you didn't leave me a voicemail, you lying bee. But then I like actually enjoyed spending time with my girlfriend, and like we had like a really great time. So it was like, if I always say like it was like a cock block that like it didn't happen. So like it
The
like
universe
actually
was speaking to you.
It led to love. So
Number 3, Luxy, you can shop for dates via posted salaries. So like you're specifically shopping for people who make a lot of money.
Is that the one where like you put your amount? Because isn't there also one, or maybe this is a defunct one, where you put like the amount of money that it would take to...
I think it filters through other dating apps to look for the rich people.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure. Number 3, and I'm not sure how to pronounce this, but it's the number 3 and then NDER, so Thrinder.
Oh, Thrinder.
Thrinder, for finicky daters who are seeking threesomes only. And then number 1 is Soul Geek for gamers, geeks, and nerds in search of love.
Aw.
And I just want to add that I was just checking online to see if these are actual apps, because at first I was like, is this a jokey site or are these actual apps? And I came across this confessional on Bustle by Dasha Favinova. Her blog is called I Used the Beard Dating App Bristler, and this is what happened. So if you scroll through, and I love this blog, I recommend that you go and read her blog, because they're like, you could find that fine hunk of pipe smoking manliness.
I actually
and then scroll
legitimately
quickly,
love
because
beards.
first she shows like the profiles that you have to fill in to get, and she's hugging a tree because she wants a lumberjack to cut it down, and she's adorable. And then you're going to see some of the people she found on Bristler. So beard loving ladies or men, yeah, right. He will shoot the beard right off your face. And then he was like, she couldn't really tell who she was going to be dating, either the guy on the left or the guy on the right.
I was just thinking that's creepy that older guy.
It looks like Santa is actually sitting on the other guy's lap.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
is more reason to love the photograph.
He has the suit on, but he's not Santa.
Mm-hmm. And then
Where's the suit?
we
Oh,
have
and
this,
a man bun.
this man bun hipster
Aquaman?
beardy man. Yeah. So yeah, that's all waiting for you on Bristler. And now, David, I hope you're okay with this, because we put it off last week, and so we're doggone it going to get to it this week, and maybe you'll have an opinion, and I think you will. It's Theybies. Who's familiar? Theybies. What's a Theyby? This is where you do not tell your child their sex; they tell you. How do you raise a Theyby? Well, between the ages of 0 and 4, you use gender-neutral pronouns, they, them, their, rather than assigning he, she, him, or her based on your child's anatomy. You tell no one the sex of your baby. You maintain an air of righteous indignation as to why anyone should care, when really you know why. You just wish it didn't matter. Thoughts about Theybies?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's like one of those things where I think if you want to do it, it's great, but there's no way in hell that you're going to be able to last 4 years and not have to tell somebody the sex of your child. Just going to the doctor alone, they're going to be like, they're going to know the sex of the child. So,
well, they're like, this is a really unusual looking vagina.
yes. This vagina is it's an
This
outie.
vagina has a penis. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we're all kind of like about Theybies. We're like, yeah, okay. So, but this is what's great about the internet. This is how Red State reported the same story, which a lot of us saw on NPR. Red State reported on the same story with a certain level of snark and mockery. And they wrote as follows. I also doubt few people would be surprised to find out that this trend is usually found in wealthy white liberal enclaves. Take Nate and Julia Sharp. They live in, surprise, Cambridge, Massachusetts. They're 3-year-old twins, Caden and Zyler. Could they not have normal but androgynous names? Apparently not. One of the first well-known Theybies was Zoomer Coyote Courtney Myers. Again with the names. Born to a graduate of gender studies, of course.
How are
and
you
her
not gonna-
partner, check again.
How are you saying you're self-righteous, or how are you being righteous in not assigning your baby a gender, but yet assigning them that name?
Yeah.
That's so much more cruel than assigning them a gender they wouldn't want, is making their name Coyote.
Yeah.
Well, then you're on the side of Red State, where it's like, why can't he just be called Terry or
Well,
Chris?
just if you're trying to do something good for your kid, if you believe that's good, don't give them that kind of name. They have to stick with that their whole life. Let them pick their name too.
I will say though that the thing that's frustrating with me about names is that people always act like certain names, like, don't get me wrong, like Pilot Inspector is a weird name, but
Is
like
Inspector the middle name? Or the whole name
I guess
is Pilot
that's the middle
Inspector?
name.
Okay.
Well, his
But
last name is Spectre, middle name is In.
yeah, but I mean, it's like Zoomers are weird, but it's like also like there are people out on this earth that are called Steffi, and we act like that's a normal name. That's not an
We just normalized it.
yeah.
What's
we
wrong
just,
with Steffi?
It's just a weird name. It's just
I've
like
never heard that name.
Stephanie.
yeah, it's just a weird. And also, like, there's so many. My brother, my father are named Bill or William, and there's so many ways you can say William. You
Yeah,
can
but
say
Coyote is not
Billion.
one of them.
Yeah. You could say Coyote.
It is now.
But what I'm saying is, it's like it's just names just get normalized over time. I mean, I think
We
it's
made
like
up all the names.
yeah, we
anyway.
made up all these names. I can't.
It's just a collection of letters, is
I
what
think
you're saying.
what's the problem is that we've just run out of all the names that we can give people from the Bible. So now we're just grasping at straws, and people are like, "Oh, well, why can't we just use the
Straw.
Bible again?"
Or Straw.
Yeah.
Straw would
Yeah.
be a good name. David, your thought about Theybies?
I don't know if I have many thoughts. I don't have any children, and I think most people shouldn't tell parents how to raise their own kids. But I do think they're going to have a really hard time, like you just said, getting through 4 years without any other people trying to use gender with their kids. So it's just going to be, something that's going to come up eventually. And if they try and create some sort of bubble around their kid, it's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, I think the alternative that everyone kind of, or at least people like me, go to rather than Theybies is to tell your daughter, you were assigned girl at birth, but if you want to play with boy things and cut your hair like a boy and wear boy clothes, like that's cool.
Well,
Yeah.
that's how my parents kind of were. Like, I am a straight heterosexual cisgendered guy. Like, I'm just a dude. But like when I was little, my dad took me to get my first bike, and I really wanted a pink Barbie bike with streamers, so he got it for me, and that was it. It wasn't just like, oh crap, my kid's transgender now. It's like, I liked a pink bike, I got it, then I got a black bike after that.
Yeah,
like,
because
and
the streamers are badass, and you knew it.
I liked it, but so, it's just like sometimes you just got to let kids take the things they like and play with things they like regardless, and then let them and then they'll develop.
I used to get my nails
anyway.
painted with my mom, and my brother one time was like, I want my nails painted green. And my mom was like kind of adverse to it at the time because she's like, no, little boys don't have their nails painted. But then she's like, well, why do I care? So he got his nails painted and he loved it. But then like he couldn't touch anything. So he was like, oh, I hate it now.
Yeah.
So it's like, I
it's
just
like
think,
a timeout.
like you were saying, I think just you're going to show your kid that they don't have like the way that we construct gender isn't necessarily based on male or female. We are biologically born a male or a female, but our constructs are what society makes for them. So I think with these Theybies, just don't force them to be in a certain envelope, and then they won't have to matter. If you just tell a girl, you do whatever you want, whatever interests you do, and a boy the same way, great. Then they're going to grow up and they're not going to have like a specific gender.
I think people are at times kind of averse to that because they believe that if you allow your child to do whatever they please, then they're going to end up like going, what some people would say is like going down a bad route. Like, you're going to end up like, if you let a guy play with like girls' toys, then you're going to have a gay son or whatever. Like, I think some people.
Well, then that takes away the idea that that you're born gay.
So, I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying those are the people who think that generally I don't think are correct, but I'm saying like the point is, like, if you just let your kid do what they want, like I said, like I got to play with my pink bike, and that was like maybe the only pink thing I've liked, but I liked it a lot. Like, so you just let kids do what they want. They're kids. They see things they want them, and that's kind of it. And then
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Shiny object.
Yeah.
It's appealing to me for this reason. Who knows? Dina.
I think that the whole Theybies thing has very honorable, good intentions, and I commend them for that, because you don't realize until you become a parent, like, how gendered things still are. Like, when I started taking and it's funny, I knew about this already because I read it in like a parenting blog that I must have started reading when I was pregnant, and I was like, what? And when you take your child to McDonald's and you get them a Happy Meal, they say, is it for a boy or a girl?
Right, everything.
And that like blew my mind that like we're still doing that. And the clothes, of course, like everything is blue or pink, glitter or monsters. Like, it's very, very gendered. But I think it's important for kids to know that. It's important to teach your kids about sexism, about racism. Like, having them in a bubble isn't going to help them. It's better for them to know, okay, this is what you're going to face in the world.
Yeah.
But here's, what we, like, as your parents, these are the values that we want to instill in you.
Right.
And, ride whatever bike you want and paint your nails,
I
whatever.
think like most kids, like most boys, probably are going to gravitate towards like the blue and the monsters, and like that's fine. You just got to give them the option to do it, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's
Well,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah,
guys
absolutely.
know the irony around blue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
I'm unaware.
It was originally
Just over 100 years ago, blue was unequivocally, without any question in anyone's mind within Western society, a girl's color, and pink was unequivocally a boy's color.
Really?
This
Yeah.
flipped
Switched
just over 100 years
Well,
ago.
that's
Like
like-
Republicans and Democrats.
Well, that's like when I
And the
when I
Whigs.
took an English literature course, they used to say that like men wrote poems, men wrote poetry, women wrote prose. That's why Mary Shelley wrote a book, because she was a woman, so she couldn't, like, it was like, oh, what, this is ridiculous, you can't write poetry. And it was like, and so now it's like, if a guy wants to write poetry, you're like, okay, lady, like.
But how did blue and pink flip, David? How was it that way and now it's this way?
one very aggressive man
Yeah.
really liked blue.
There are articles on it online. I do not understand exactly how it flipped, but it was binary. and the change was around 100 years ago, and it blows people's minds because some people somehow have this idea that it is, genetically imprinted that you're, boy blue, girl pink.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea that it was so recently the exact opposite, and not on the other side of the world, not in Papua New Guinea. I mean, here in America.
Right here.
And we've just completely forgotten. We have the worst memory of anywhere in the world, I think.
I was cracking up so much. I'm sorry if I didn't want to sound rude, but I just realized that you were the only person on this panel that has a kid, and we were all like, hold on. Let me get my point across.
Yeah.
Like,
That's because I'm more important.
So I apologize because we were like,
And it actually
you
has a
have a child and you're raising whatever. So my opinion is...
All right, we're going to go to Facebook feed time. This is from my cousin Ellen, and she posted this today on Facebook. Creepy. Just got a call from Russia. Didn't answer, blocked number, and cringed. Who do I report this to? Reminder, do not answer or return call, but you knew that. All right. Has anyone else gotten a call from Russia? You can read some of the boys in the booth, you can read some of the comments because I can't see them from here.
I've gotten calls from Cambodia, but never
No, but
Russia.
like specifically Russia. Is this the next way that they're going to be targeting us?
Oh,
I don't think so.
it's just someone got a phone call from Russia.
Is
Let's
that
not
all?
make
Probably
everything
a
about it.
telemarketer.
Yeah. I don't want to diminish the fact. I just don't want to get carried away with it either.
I'm just selling knives. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
I'm just selling knives.
They
And
cut through faster than we did
and
through
how
the
has
I'm selling knives and ideologies.
how have we hurt the international business for independent knife sellers in Russia by assuming that they're trying to influence our
It's
politics?
just one man trying to make a living.
What have we done to him and his family?
He's like, you know what? I bought a bunch of numbers from a telemarketing company. I'm just going to call because I heard America is really great to sell knives to. And then people just keep hanging up on him. And they're like, stop interfering with our government. And he's like, I'm not. I'm just trying to sell you knives.
From Russia.
Yeah.
All right.
They make the best knives.
Oddly enough, China
What's
is
Twitter
where the
trending?
knives are made.
So this I actually found this on my iPad in bed, and I had to figure out like how to save it because I wanted to, you know how you see something on Twitter and you're like, all right, so this is, someone tweeted this.
The Halo theme song.
Okay,
Why?
everyone watch, and this is, someone tweeted, Hibbit Tweets wrote, can a white boy explain to me what is happening here? And then
The answer is no.
Someone named Chic Shrek responds, y'all are stupid FRFR. It's called T-posing. It's a common meme which originated from the default character skin standing position when video game characters are being created. I'm
Yes.
not even white, and I knew this, but they didn't know to put a period at the end of their sentence. So let's watch
and
the
they
video.
said no.
Let's
no
watch
one
the.
said no.
I guess the whole school got in on this.
I knew it was the Halo music in the background, but I didn't know what the
that's
T
the
stuff
Halo
was.
music.
I
Okay,
knew
so
nothing
the door
that was
opens.
I don't
I think
know.
I understand.
I think they're trying to create a new challenge where everyone's going to be T-posing.
I think the scariest thing on earth would be to walk into this to try and use the
Yeah.
bathroom.
Oh, that kid is. That kid is.
This is kind of grand.
It
I
seems
like
like
it.
some
That
like
kid
looks
was
like a
trying
cult.
hard not to
It
smile.
looks
Yeah, it's a cult. Like, you're just like, oh, just gonna-
I'd be like, oh God, no.
I used to get up in every single class in high school to go to the bathroom, sometimes twice per class, because the other teachers didn't know that I'd been 4 times already that day, just to
Yeah.
get out of class. And if I walked in like, oh, gonna go take a quick break, use my phone, walk into the bathroom, and there's like this cult going on, I
Looks
would.
like Westworld.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the question, can a white boy explain to me what is happening here, is like the best thing I've ever read on Twitter. And
It
then
is
it
all
just
white
goes
boys.
on and on and on. All right, so T-posing
Yeah.
is now a thing.
But I get it,
So
like, it
what
is- that is
the
how video games-
point of it?
Yeah.
Is it a
It's just
game
a meme.
or?
Do memes ever
Well,
have
so
points?
in video games, sometimes, first of all, when they're creating a video game character, like just modeling it, I guess that's the pose that they use.
Well, even in The Sims, which I've done.
Right, they're all arms out to
But
the
sometimes
side.
if you're in a game and there's a glitch, sometimes the player will sometimes just assume that pose and they'll be walking around like that without moving their legs at all.
We need the alien guy. That's
So-
the better. That's the better video game.
Okay.
The little alien dude
It's-
who
it can be
dances
funny.
around. I don't know what
And
it's
if you
called.
put-
I've seen that before.
And also, you can do anything, really, and put epic music behind it, and it will look like, what's happening?
But you could take anything and kind of put it and be like, and just assume that it's a different cult. Like if you were just like, what is this white now? Like somebody could be watching this and be like, what is this white nonsense? I could be like,
Oh,
it's
you
a
mean
podcast.
this show?
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a podcast.
Yeah.
So I just
Can
like
some
how,
white
yeah.
boy explain to me what's going on?
Wait, hold on. Let's all T-pose, and then maybe Dina can take our picture.
It's interesting that body positions became a meme. Like
I don't really know how
there's
to.
so many
is
of
this
them.
all? Am I doing it
There's
right?
like owling and planking and T-posing and Faith Hilling and
Everybody
Tim
do it.
Tebow.
How do you Faith Hill?
T-Boeing was never a meme.
How do you Faith Hill?
I guess it
I
was.
think that might have been just a South Park thing. This is Faith Hilling.
Yeah. That was
Kobe,
South Park.
Kobe did that a lot.
South
Go
Park.
ahead, David.
Kobe.
That was
The
South
basketball
Park.
player.
That was South Park.
Kobe
All right.
Bryant.
Yeah.
So what,
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I wonder why. Like, is it just like community building, or like why do people do that kind of
Well,
stuff?
just take
Because they're
a
bored.
It's imagine seeing a meme and then imagine being the meme, right? Like it's so much more fun when you're in high school and have nothing going on and you somehow manage to organize 70 boys, which makes you feel like you have any control over life whatsoever to like walk around your school and you get attention for 5 minutes and people talk about it for a day.
This is the only way that we're going to look at our bodies and say, wow, our bodies are funny. Like, we're not going to have like, any kind of sexual conversation. We're just going to talk about how, like, oh, what if I stand like this?
Yeah.
Plus, you can never see yourself, so you have to get 70 other people in on it to see them.
See, I think that's how Russia should interfere with the next election. Is they on
Start a
election
meme.
day just have a meme where you get a bunch of young people to go to another location
I
and
think
it's a voting booth.
I think that they should just have, they should send millions of people here to get in the voting lines, only to like really slowly get declined when they get to the front of the line,
Or
to
to
hold
do-
it up so long.
to do a dance mob.
Can I see like your documentation? And they're just like, oh, I'm Russian. And they're like, so you can't vote. You're like, why not? And they just like hold it up the whole time. I need to speak with someone who works here, like a whole thing. And then everyone in the back of the line is like, I'm going
We're
home.
giving
This
them
is too
so
much.
many
Yeah,
good ideas.
let's quit
Don't
while
give
we're
them
keep
ideas.
going.
That's funny, at least. If they want to do it that way, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'll go for it because that's funny.
Or just like forget why you're there and just be like, what?
Can I get a double cheeseburger?
Yeah, what am I doing here? Oh God.
everyone's just T-posing in line to vote.
But like thousands of them. So you're in
Yeah.
the back of the line. You're like, this is, oh my goodness, I'm
Yeah.
going home.
So David, where can we see your show?
Yeah, so I'm actually playing in Martha's Vineyard this Friday, August 3rd, a one-night stand.
Will the Obamas
And
be there?
I expect.
Okay.
I mean, why wouldn't the
Just
Obamas
checking.
come?
Sure.
Michelle told me she
then
won't be there.
I'm playing the Edmonton Fringe in the middle of August. I'm hitting Seattle on August 30th. Then I'm in Vancouver for the first 2 weeks of September. I'm hitting Bentonville, Arkansas at the end of September, Boulder, Colorado, first week of October. Then I'm in Chicago for all of November. And in and around there, I'm going to be doing some special one-night stand pop-ups in New York City.
Any shows in
And
Russia?
all no shows in Russia yet, but I'm sure very soon. They'll need this.
Is there a place we can go to like see your schedule?
Yeah, my whole schedule is up on f-tinder.com. That's f-tinder.com.
Nice.
All right. Thank you so much, David Rodwin, for being with us. Thank you, Dina Friedman, Jilly Halprin, Ryan Tabb, Aaron Linker, Lori Roggenkamp, Thomas Hubble, Francesco Damanda,
And thank you, Louise.
Lane McFadden,
Yeah, thank you, Louise.
John
This
Maddox,
is fantastic.
and David Court. We will see you next week. And please subscribe and like and put a comment on iTunes because that helps other cool people like you find our show. And then you can find them and maybe like hook up on Tinder. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.